Introduction to C Programming Concept. So that will be the first chapter in Balguru Sami. That is a reference book mentioned in the syllabus. So we will just start with a few basic things. You can ask in between. I am able to control a small class, no problem. In between, I am not going to mute you all. In between, if you have any doubts, you can just ask. Okay. So last time I was checking BSc for the second semester, and initially, like when they come for the first sem, they will be some of them were not from computer science and not from science background itself. So they were thinking it is a big thing. No, nothing in programming. Also, we can. Once if you get into that, you will understand there is nothing in there. So terms are just not like according to what we say, but no need of getting scared. It's very simple. So I have kept in the slide why we need a program. Why these software programmers, they are writing or making programs. Why we need a program. You can unmute and speak also, no problem. Why we need a program? I may have some task to be done, or you can answer in the chat box if you are like if you can't speak or unmute yourself. You can always message in the chat box. Okay. So, so why we need a program in order to solve it? But if I may be having, I might given it by the management. Suppose they will be giving us some task to solve or a problem to solve. Such things, in order to make it easier, I make computer to do that program or the task or the problem to be solved. So my main idea or why we need a program is to solve a particular problem or to execute a particular task. That's all. So now why we like the term program is mainly used in order to refer to or in order to address a computer, right? We never tell a program for the human beings. We will just address the things which is given to the computer as a program, right? So what is a program? Program is nothing but a set of instructions. Program is nothing but a set of instructions, the language in which a computer can understand, right? It is nothing but a step-by-step instruction. You are given instructions, right? You should join WhatsApp group. You should click on this link before and you are given a timetable. At this time, you should join on this link, right? Likewise, so this computer also is given a set of instruction. Why we are giving an instruction? Because program is written in order to solve a problem, right? Or in order to, no one is there or what? I am just speaking. In order to execute a particular task. Computer is not a human being which can understand by seeing. So we are writing a program in a language which the computer can understand. What is a language which computer can understand? Binary code, right? What is binary code? Don't get scared with seeing.
It consists of zeros and ones.
Zeros and one. Only this one the computer will understand. Only zeros and one, because we are giving only a power supply to the computer. And with this, the only thing which we can vary is on and off. On and off is indicated by 0 and 1. So computer can understand only the binary code, right? So we cannot write a program in zeros and 1, right? We cannot write a program or an instruction. We should understand now what is the meaning. Can you understand anything which is seen on the screen? Computer can understand this 0 and 0 1, but we cannot understand 0 and 0 1, right? So what is in order to write a program, we cannot use this 0 and 1 because computer will understand only zeros and 1 or the binary code, but human beings cannot understand or cannot write a set of instruction. What is a program? Set of instruction. We cannot write in zeros and 1. So we started writing assembly language. Assembly language, that is a more well-developed language which can be easily converted into binary code, which computer can understand. I'm not muting, if you have disturbance, you can mute yourself. And when I'm asking some questions, you can unmute. So assembly language, that also little bit we can understand. Go to or move, add, those things, we can understand, but it was like again not so easy to understand and write the program in the assembly language. So this can be easily converted into machine level language. And now the programmers, software programmers, they started writing high level language, which is almost similar to our English language. Everyone should listen to this. This is nothing from the syllabus, understood? Nothing from your first chapter. Even if you open and see the Balaguruswamy, you will not see this. But just to brief out in the first class, just to give an introduction, what is a program? I am just showing. So here we are having a code while n greater than 0, sum equal to sum plus n, and then minus minus n. This is somewhat we can understand, right? We'll learn about this while loop and all later, but I'm telling this is more similar to a English language which human beings can understand. Is it clear? So we will be writing programs. So we will be writing programs in a language which we can understand, and then it will be converted into a language which computer can understand. Understood? So there are two steps involved. So from the level which we can understand. So I'm writing a program which I can understand, that is the high level language, and we have to convert it into a low level language or a machine code which the computer can understand. So there are two steps involved. From the high level language, we'll be converting into an assembly code by a compiler. This nothing is there, don't get scared, I'm just telling. Two steps are there. And then from this assembly code, it will be converted into a machine level code using an assembler. That's it. So we will be writing programs in high level language, and computer will understand only in binary code or the machine. So now we have reached the high level language level. Now we are thinking of making or defining or making the high level language the best high level language. So the programming language is keeping on evolving, or there is a timeline which is showing what are the different types of programming languages which we had till now. Right from what year it is showing 1940. From there, the software engineers have started doing creating programming languages, high-level programming language as well as assembly-level programming languages. Now, in your textbook, they have mentioned only from 1960, the first programming language or the high-level language called ALGOL. That is the first programming language. After that, tell me which all the programming languages in this, you are aware. Now here they have shown the timeline up to 2010, and now we are in 2020, right? So many softwares have come up. Are you most of you were telling about C++, right? Girls are not speaking only. Tell me which all programming languages you know in this. Not knowing, but the name. Tell.
Ma'am, I have learned Java, ma'am.
Java, yeah, good. Then see, good. Here it is. Java is there. Now, which all you know? Any other program?
Ma'am, from 9th, only Java I know, ma'am. Other than that, I don't know, ma'am.
No problem. And then Python. You have heard of any other languages? PHP, some of
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Yeah. Our
SQL, ma'am.
SQL you have SQL you have learned. And not learning, just heard also, you can just tell. Visual Basic, some not learning, I'm telling you, just heard of such programming languages, right? MATLAB, all these are the different programs. Basic. Now we were when we were in school and all, we were having Basic, and then some of you might have known about the Fortran. So just give attendance in the chat box. Give your name and then send me as a chat. I will be taking attendance today. It should go like that, and give yes in the chat box, all of you, please. This chat will be saved and I'll be marking attendance with this, okay? Kritika, Mamata, Meenakshi, Nidin, KV, Pavan, and one more. Who is that? Suhail, right? So these many are present.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I'll be marking attendance. In between, no, I'll just ask you to mark attendance. So those who are there at that time, no, I'll be marking attendance. Okay. In case the connection is lost, I am recording the whole meeting, so I'll be able to catch up. But still, no, you should be giving attendance in the chat box when I'm asking you. Okay. So these are the programming languages. So they're just telling. So why were these programmers, they were making, software engineers were keeping on improving with the new programming languages. We were when we were studying, we were having only Java, C++, and all. Later, how many programming languages came up, right? So Python, and then you might have heard about R programming language, and then nowadays it is going to be Go is another programming language which is going to be very powerful. D is another programming language. So some Rust, RUST, these are again high-level programming languages which has come up recently. So why they are keeping on creating newer versions of programming language? What is the use? Why after Algol they created BASIC? Then after that C. What is the main aim? Because they wanted to add new features to the existing programming language. What they will do, existing programming language, what all good features are there, they will take up, and then what are the defects or whichever is not, whichever features are not existing and it is required, no, they will be adding to the new programming language, and then they will create a new programming language. So what happened was Algol had few features. So BASIC, when they created, they took those features and then added new features. And now C was created. So in C also there were some features. So they added up new features and then created the new programming language. So we will see what all the history of the C. From here only we have in the textbook. Algol is the root of all modern programming languages. It's not a language, means not our English language. I'll be just referring to the language, means it is our programming language, because we are studying programming languages. So here Algol is so in your textbook they didn't start with the from 1940. So Calcul, that is the first programming language. So in your textbook they have started only from Algol, Fortran and all. Now we have heard, right, Fortran. So in some internet when we refer, we may see different programming languages which are considered as the first programming language. So Fortran in your degree, PU and all, you might have studied like that. So in your textbook they are referring as Algol. Why? Because C has taken many of its features from Algol. It's not because it is there was no other programming language before Algol. They are telling the first programming language which is actually matching with the C programming language, that started with the invent of Algol in 1960. So the root of modern high-level programming language is considered as Algol, and it was in 1960. And then after that we saw in that timeline BASIC. BASIC actually is Basic Combined Programming Language, or it is referred with the abbreviation BCPL. In 1967, Martin Richard developed a new programming language called BCPL. This is just a history. Nothing will be asked for the question like university question paper. Then in 1970, Ken Thompson, again, whatever features were there in the existing programming language, they took from it and then created another programming language called B. Understood? The name of the programming language is B. Then again, what was the, like it had many features, but what was the problem? In BCPL and B, both the programming languages were typeless. Those who have studied computer science, they may be knowing what is data type. I will explain what is data type. When we are writing a program, you will be needing some, you will be using some variables, in order to accept the values from the user. So these variables can be declared with a different data type. Don't get scared. I'll be explaining this in the coming up the chapters. So this variables means, like, suppose I am developing a program. In order to ask, or in order to get my task is to get the name and details of the BSc, PGC students. So what will be the first thing I will be asking? I will be asking your name, right? Obviously your name I will be asking, address, and then age I may ask. So you will be using variables in order to accept the 9 students of BSc, PGC. I'll be using a character variable in order to accept the name, because you are entering alphabets, right? But when you are asked to enter age, I will not be using the character variable. I'll be using a variable which is integer, right? So these are the different. So in order to accept characters, I'll be using a character variable. In order to accept an age, you will be using a age variable. So here there are different data types with which a variable can be declared. But tell me, what are the 2 variables just now I told? Different data types which I just now I told. You can unmute and speak.
Character and integer.
That only I told just now. So problem with the BCPL or basic language and B was they were typeless language. We cannot declare a variable of a definite data type. I cannot declare a variable of a data type character. I cannot declare a variable of data type integer. I'll be using a variable which is not having any data type, and I'll be using it for accepting all the values. That was a defect of BCPL and B. Now what happened? So with this, Dennis Ritchie, our like a developer of C programming language, what he did was he developed a programming language called C. This is what we are going to learn. C was evolved from which all programming language? Algol, Basic or BCPL, and B programming language. So all these are the programming languages which was previous to C. So what Dennis Ritchie did was he took all the features, all the good features from Algol, BCPL, and B, and added. What was the defect of BCPL and B? It didn't have any data type. So what he did, he added feature of having data type, and he made C programming language which is having the data type. It was not typeless. What is typeless? Which is not having a data type. So C was evolved and it was created. C programming language was developed by Dennis Ritchie at, where was the place? Bell Laboratory. Nobody will be asking, but just to know, in the year 1972. So now C was a new programming language which evolved from Algol, BCPL, and B. Now what happened? Again the language, the programming language had some problem or some features were missing. So what happened was Brian Keringham and Dennis Ritchie, our Dennis Ritchie itself, who developed C, he joined with Keringham and made a new version of C. And what is the name of the new version? K and R C. Keringham also contributed something, right? So he took one name, like a initial from his name, and one letter from Dennis Ritchie, and he named the C programming as K and RC. Understood? This is just a history because today is the first day. So he made a new version. C already was developed by Dennis Ritchie, and now he joined with the Keringham and added a few more features to it. So the meeting will end at after 10 minutes it is doing. So different versions of C were often incompatible. Now problem was each programmer joined with the Dennis Ritchie and took the concept and then developed newer and newer versions of C. Now what happened? Different versions. What was the first version name? C. Then second version was K and RC. Then another version of C. So some other scientists took it and again added a few more features. Then what happened was different versions of C came up. So now the standardizing committee or the institute, came into picture. They made the version which is existing now, or the version which is having all the updated things, was made as a standard for C. That is, American National Standard Institute made a standard C, that is having all the features and it has to be compatible with all the systems, and named it as 1989, it was named as ANSI-C, that is ANSI means American National Standard Institute, and they took it, made a version of C which is having all the good features and made as a standard, so that everybody will be using a compatible, because a program can be developed as small modules also, right? So different person will be developing the program from different side. If I'm giving you a project to do, I will be asking you to do small parts, like as there are how many students are there now? Now suddenly how come 9 students came in? Huh?
I joined in, ma'am. Harsha.
Okay.
I had a small network problem until now.
Sorry?
I had a small network problem until now.
Okay, okay. So you should give attendance in the chat box. Today I'll consider, later on, no, you should join on time. Okay. So I'll be taking attendance in between. So I with the timestamp it will come. Okay. So if I'm doing a project, I will be asking, if I'm dividing and giving you to the students in the of BSc BJC, each one will be working out a small module, right? So everyone, if they start to use the same standard C programming, then it will be compatible, or we can merge it later, or we can have the functions from each one and then make it as a single program. But if each one is using different versions of C, there will be incompatibility, or there will be problem while we are using it as a or when we are merging it together. So in order to avoid that, American National Standard Institute made as a standard C which should be used by everyone. Understood? So that became known as ANSI-C. And in 1990, they made the International Standard Organization. This is again a standardizing organization which will be checking all the features. Even our, it's not applicable, or not only applicable for the programming languages, ISO certified, you might have seen, even our college is ISO certified, right? So they will be, each organization or each programming language, they have to follow certain set of protocols or rules in order to get the ISO standard. So in 1990, the ISO approved version of C is named as C89. This is just a theory, just a history. Just as we learn in our history class, I'm just telling, nothing will be asked from all these. Just I'm just as it is given in the syllabus, I'm just taking it. Okay, so ISO approved version of C is known as C89. ANSI approved or the standard version of C is known as ANSI-C. That's it. So why they created such versions? In order to avoid the incompatibility issue. Okay. Then now they have given in the textbook, they have given how different history of C. Their timeline is like this. From in 1960, just now we studied, it's just a recap. In 1960, ALGOL was invented by a group of computer scientists. We cannot, actually one person is named as Alan. Alan named a computer scientist, programmer, he developed the ALGOL, but it's actually a group of scientists, computer scientists. And in 1967, BCPL, only those which are prominent or they had features related, like comparable with C, they have mentioned. Okay, it's not the complete programming or the timeline of the programming languages. And in 1970, the programming language called B. 1972, our C, the actual C, which was, they are just telling us that's traditional C, which was evolved by, or which was developed by Dennis Ritchie. And then I told you some more features were added by Karen Ham along with Dennis Ritchie and named it as KNRC. And in 89, ANSI-C, because of the incompatibility issue, they were following, they were making it as a standard version of C and named it as ANSI-C. And ISO certified, if such and such factors or protocols are satisfied, then ISO will be making it as an ISO certified version and it is named as C89. That's it. Now, even though C was developed much earlier, now also we have C in our in our syllabus, right? We are not moving to, Python is very powerful, Java also was good, and again, a few more programming languages, I just now told, no, those programming languages have evolved, but still we are teaching C as a first programming language in our syllabus. And even like some of the companies, they even may be using C, in order to write programs or the system software. They may be still clinging on to C or C++. Why we are still using it? So in the beginning, but much of the features, it is there in our new programming language. But still, why it is considered as an important programming language? C is a powerful language with a set of built-in functions. Don't get scared with seeing these terms. Some those who have not studied C or any of the programming language, we will be learning each and every term which is there in this slide. Okay, built-in function, you may not be knowing. Data type, you may not be knowing. Operators, you may not be knowing. But you should understand that C is a powerful language with a set of built-in functions, data types and operators. Data type, just now I had explained, it is nothing but in order to declare a variable, in order to make it accept different values. So here C was in the beginning, we were considering it as very important because of the new features which were added to it. Data type was is a feature which was not there. So built-in functions. If I explain now also you will not understand, but still I'll just try to explain. There are when we write a program, those who are written program in C++ also, in order to do some modules, we'll be writing functions. That is a set of computer state or the programming statements. Got it? Which is delimited by a curly bracket and which is named by a name. That's all. So when we are repeatedly using a set of lines or set of codes or programming lines, it is better to make it as a function and name. So function should be having a name, a return value, and and arguments. So these are the things which are essential for a function. So when we are writing a program, if there are certain things which has to be done repeatedly, we will be making it as a function. So we can reduce the length of our coding. Got it? So there are certain built-in functions. There are certain built-in functions which can be called. So how to use these functions? We will be just calling them by the name. And we have to pass only two things. That is, we have to pass only one thing, that is argument, and the function will return the return value. So that is I'll explain it later. So these were the things, functions, it was not existing in the previous programming language. So we added functions also, and then operators, which was not existing in the previous language, that was also added. So like any of the arithmetic operators, there are many operators which we are going to study in the next chapters. Those were operators were also not existing in the previous programming language. You are getting bored or what? I'm going with too much theory. You can ask.
Ma'am.
Ma'am, I heard one song.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. So, so these were the things which were added to the programming language, and then with which we can write complex programs. Understood? So we want to write complex